Good morning.
拳を交えて分かることもあるから。もろもろの我がこと罪汚れ清めましょう。あなたの。
You're too slow!
Hello everyone, it's Arsenalty here, and I am feeling very blessed. Namco flew me out to play Tekken 8 and this game is insane. I'm still processing what just happened because I got to meet Harada-san and I played mostly against the main man and Spaghetti Rip, so we had really good games. Did I say we got to play the game for 8 hours? It's only natural to be jealous, but we did do labbing and I did make a lot of notes, and I'm just going to tell you about my experience and my thoughts on the game, and there is some new crazy shit that you need to know about. So without further ado, let's talk Tekken 8. I just want to start off by talking about the presentation, because as soon as I sat down to play this game, I immediately fell in love. I admit it, it was love at first sight. We all know that Unreal Engine 5 is great, but when you actually sit down to play this game for the first time, you'll realize just how deprived you've been of details in the characters and stages. The heat system has really given the Tekken team the opportunity to flex their animation muscles, because when you're using character abilities and special moves, it's not only the look of the moves that look amazing, but it's the sound effects and the impact as well. It's so well designed. And also a great design choice was just adding more special interactions when two characters who know each other meet and fight. Special rage arc kill animation, so if your rage arc kills, some characters will do a special animation. And one more thing about the look of the game, the UI is looking clean, man. Like, I like the little details of the chains unraveling on the character panels when you use heat, and the heartbeat on the versus screen. Like, I don't know, I just like these kind of small details. Alright, let's talk about gameplay. I had a feeling that the heat mechanic would be like Akuma's meter bar, but the resource management is different because you can only use heat once per round. There are many ways to enter heat, and one of them are heat engages, and in my personal opinion, sometimes in my experience I felt as though the heat engager was overwhelming, especially with characters like Paul. For example, I feel as though Paul has the best heat engager in the game with forward 4. It's a mid homing kick, sort of like Claudio's old forward 3, but if Paul hits you with this, he'll enter this heat engage animation, and yeah, you're negative as fuck, and you know what that means when you're against Paul. That is just one specific example though, and generally I feel like heat engages are really good for getting the game started, because if both players have heat at the start of the round, then heat engages are going to be active, and managing to hit one of these not only puts you in heat mode, but it puts your opponent in a mix-up situation. The way you use heat can vary depending on which character you play, and I really like the fact that it adds an element of variety to the characters. It feels as though they've got more of an archetype. JIN was super interesting because a lot of her moves did massive chip damage, but they'd also do chip damage to herself. But once she's in heat, those same moves will still chip your opponent, but her health bar increases instead. So if you're playing as JIN, activating heat manually in the open is quite a good idea. Just spam strings and chip your opponent to death. Heat dashing is useful for applying pressure after you've got a heat engager, or if you're just in the opponent's face. But it's also good for the combo system because it gives you a way to increase your wall carry. And in this game, the bound mechanic, the screw mechanic, whatever you want to call it, it's got an upwards motion now, so there's less wall carry in this game, and generally moves don't do long wall splats like they would in Tekken 7. So instead of launching, getting a screw attack, going to the wall and doing wall pressure, you might want to use heat dashes instead to carry your opponent to the wall, and then use the combo extender to re-wall splat because it can do that at the wall now. It just adds another layer to the combo system, and I really like combos in this game, especially because low parries no longer give you bounds, so yeah, it's just overall better. You can also enhance combos using the Heat Smash, which functions similar to Rage Drives, but they look so much better, and you can actually cancel some of them like Jin's to aid your combos or to mix up your opponents in the neutral. And I really want to emphasize that Heat adds a lot of personality to these characters. It's not just the Heat Smash, but whilst you're in Heat, some of your normal moves are enhanced, and it just makes the characters so much more fun to play and watch. Trust me man, it's so satisfying, and this is where I feel like Heat is really well integrated into the game. So in the neutral, defensive options have definitely been nerfed, and the low parry is an example of this, but also with the nerf of Magic 4 no longer launching, I found myself in so many situations where I was under crazy pressure and I just really wanted to use a Magic 4, but it doesn't really do anything. And if you do want to hit a counter hit, you have to commit to some unsafe string for the most part. So King's back 1, you can't just do back 1, you have to commit to back 1 2. Law's Magic 4, you can't just do Magic 4 now, you have to commit to 4 3, which is a high and you can duck the second hit. So I felt as though armor moves were pretty strong in this game because it was just a simple defensive option to use when under pressure. We'll just have to see what other characters like Steve have in terms of counter hit moves, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't have much else to say about the game itself, so I'm going to talk about my main. So some of Jin's defensive options: parry, nerf. It no longer has auto block and you can easily be punished. I think this was a good change. His parry was a little bit brain dead. Zen cancel is gone. If you enter Zen with forward 4 or any other move that goes into it, you have to commit to one of the options in the stance. You do have Zen 2, which is an armor move that's also a heat engager and it's homing, but the thing about it is it's a high, so your opponent can duck. You can still crouch dash out of Zen stance, but the point is you still have to commit to something. There are new moves like Zen 4, which is a move that flies in the air and beats duck jabs. I did get floated out of this one though. And there's also Zen 1+2, which is a low that goes into a grab, but I found this low to be slow and I got beaten out of it a lot. And the standard Zen 1-2 and 1-3 are still here, but 1-2 has a new animation and 1-3 automatically goes into his old armor move animation, so you can't use it for wall carry anymore. Oh, and there's Zen 3 as well. I don't think it counter hit launches anymore, don't quote me on that. Forward 4 by itself with no Zen cancel, just forward 4, it's a lot easier to combo from now. So the combo route for counter hit forward 4 no longer necessarily needs Zen if you're bad at execution. Forward 4 isn't as hard anymore. Down back 4 on counter hit no longer knocks down. The thing is though, why would you want to use down back 4 when you've got down 2, the best low in the game so far? Bro, this thing hits from the other side of the screen, it does massive damage on normal hit, it tracks to the left, it high crushes, it's only -14, it's at least +3 on hits, it flips over on Oki. Oh, and did I mention that it's a counter hit launch? Yeah, please don't change down 2, it was really fun. This move does feel godlike right now and it might get nerfed, but a key element of the move is the fact that it catches tech rolling. Jin's always had terrible Oki and this is a huge buff for him. There's also the buff to his Oki with CD1 flipping over opponents. The normal version won't flip people over, only the electric version. This buff in Oki actually relates to his Hell Sweep nerf because you can no longer get a combo from it. The Hell Sweep is now a 2-hit move that puts your opponent in face up feet away position. So the Oki tools I just mentioned are good for this situation. Keep in mind when I say this that this was the first time I was ever playing Tekken 8 and there are definitely things you can do that I wasn't doing, but when I hit a heat engager with Jin, which was mostly forward 2, which I think is his best heat engager, the mix-up potential was just lacking. The Hell Sweep just wasn't really scary and I'd just end up doing down 2. He's still got great pressure though with his new lows and his new down forward 1 having more range, and I don't think his jabs are T-Rex arms anymore. Down 4 is still there if you want a quick low. And the third hit of 2-1-4 on counter hit actually knocks down, so his pressure does feel nice. You can still sidestep the last hit of 2-1-4, but the delay counter hit really is a good option. Don't quote me on this because I forgot to make notes on the Omen stance because I'm dumb, but from what I remember, if you activate the Omen stance outside of heat, it's just a parry that knocks down, but if you activate it within heat, it's a parry that allows you to go into any move in Omen. So that's the Devil Jin Hell Sweep, the Kazuya Electric, and the Heihachi Omen Thunder God Fist. I believe that you have to use these moves immediately after using the stance, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, so for punishment, his 10 frame punish 2-4, it's still wall splats but it no longer knocks down in the open, and after you hit the move you can go into crouch dash. And for Jin's while standing punishment, he actually got a buff in while standing 4-4, so he gets more damage from -11 lows. I can't remember if it wall splats, I'm sorry. The new down 3-3 low is no longer down 3-3, it's now down 3-4, and this move is low high. You can duck the second hit. You can also do a mid mix up which knocks down by pressing down 3-4-4, similar to down forward 1-4-4. Down 3-4-4 doesn't launch though, it knocks down, and it's got a similar animation to down forward 1-4-4, so that leads me to believe that potentially down forward 1-4-4 doesn't launch. I sound like such a nerd. Down forward 2 is the mid Devil Claw. It tracks to the left, and if you hit it, you can go into crouch dash for mix up. I don't think it's very plus though, and it's definitely a nerf from the down forward 2 of Tekken 7. It's good for combos though, because you can do down forward 2 into crouch dash, and crouch dash 1 is now a combo extender, so yeah. Another new move, forward forward 4. It's a big kick with a lot of forward momentum. It knocks down, it wall splats, it does decent damage, and I was actually using it in my wave dash mix up. Another thing as well is Jin has a full crouch game now. He can do full crouch 4, which is essentially the old Zen 4. You can use it after down 2 because it puts you in crouch and you're like +4, so maybe not competitively viable, but it hit the main, man. Look, I could go on forever about Tekken 8 and Jin, like how Zen is now forward 3+4 and how counter hit 4 no longer counter hit launches, but it's still early days and I miss the game every day. Tekken 7 just isn't the same. But for real, man, thank you so much Bandai Namco for allowing me to play this amazing game, and thank you for watching up to this point. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you haven't already. That's all from me, and I'm out.